Do you want to share the story that you told me about hiring people away, or just some thoughts that you have about people going so into debt when they're in college and graduate school? And because I thought that was a real fascinating
Yeah, well, I
perspective.
just think part of what we've seen, and it's happened in my family as well with a cousin of mine, is that the cost of higher ed is just crazy today. Mm-hmm. And so if you go off to an Ivy League school, you graduate undergrad with $100-something thousand of debt. Mm-hmm. Then you go off to grad school and you get another $100-something thousand of debt. And I just think that's a really tough ask. Mm-hmm. I mean, my brother-in-law went to Rice undergrad, then he went to Stanford for grad school, graduated with a PhD. Mm-hmm. And the Bay Area is this crazy expensive place anyway. And to try to get a PhD while you're married and starting a family, and you're trying to do all this in your late 20s, it's a really high ask. I just think that is a industry ripe for disruption.
Right.
That you have tremendous brand power in some institutions, and they're in this escalating price and program war. And I think we're starting to see the disruption with the Khan Academies and others that basically demonstrate, there's ways to master this material without paying $60,000 a year.
Right.
And when you grow up without a trust fund or something, it's hard to come up with $60,000 a year.
Yeah, and you end up with 6 figures in debt when you're 25 years old, and it may force you to make a decision about your career path that is not in your best interest. In other words, you just have to go for the money, right?
Yeah, I think it crowds out risk-taking.
Mm-hmm.
It crowds out entrepreneurship because it's, if you have that, what you did is you got a house without the mortgage. I mean, you got a mortgage without the house.
Mortgage without the house.
Yeah, you've got a sheet of paper, you got a piece of parchment, and $200,000 of debt. Well, that $200,000 could have been your seed capital for your new company.
Right.
For example. Instead, you got a piece of parchment. So I just think it puts you on a risk-averse path. You got to go get a fancy job that pays 6 figures and all that stuff.